Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so if you've spent any time scrolling social media lately, you've probably seen The Cabin Factory.
Oh, for sure. It's hard to miss.
Yeah, and it's not just, another indie game dropping.
Yeah.
This thing feels different. It became this huge viral hit, kind of bypassing all the usual marketing stuff.
It's pretty extraordinary, actually. We're looking at source material about a game that, get this, didn't just go viral once. It kept catching fire on TikTok, on X,
Right.
racking up millions and millions of views. And this was before they even officially announced the console versions.
Which is wild for a new indie IP, right? That kind of organic buzz, almost unheard of.
Exactly.
So, our mission today is basically your shortcut through all that noise. We're going to unpack what makes the Cabin Factory tick, like its unique hook, why this specific kind of horror seemed to hit such a nerve, and crucially, give you all the essential details for when it lands on consoles.
Which leads us to the big question everyone's asking.
Let's get straight to it. The date you need.
Block this one in. October 16th.
October 16th, that's the console launch. And it's pretty comprehensive, isn't it? We're talking basically everything.
Yeah, simultaneous drop.
Yeah.
So Nintendo Switch, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, and even Xbox One.
Wow, okay. They're really going for it, hitting the ground running.
Definitely. And what's fascinating, I think, is how sustained the buzz was.
Yeah.
Viral hits often flare up and then vanish.
Right, like a flash in the pan.
Yeah, but this one kept simmering. People kept asking for it on console. So it makes you wonder, why did this relatively short game, this contained horror experience, generate such a huge ongoing demand?
That really brings us nicely into the origin story, doesn't it? Because that context helps explain some of this immediate success. When did it first actually appear?
It first launched on Steam back in December 2024.
Okay, so not that long ago, really.
No, not at all. And the feedback was pretty much instant, overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
The sources mentioned it quickly racked up over 1,700 very positive reviews on Steam.
That's significant for an indie title, especially from a newer team. Huge green flag, like you said.
Definitely.
And speaking of the team, who actually made this? We should give them their credit.
Right. It's developed by this indie dev partnership called International Cat Studios, like a power couple duo, apparently.
Okay.
And they teamed up with Future Friends Games for publishing.
Ah, Future Friends. Yeah, I recognize that name. They did Clover Pit and Slots and Daggers, right?
That's the one. So they clearly have an eye for these kinds of, well, commercially viable, interesting concepts.
And the critics liked it too, didn't they? It wasn't just players. I saw a quote.
Yeah, the source material highlights one from Vice, specifically saying it deserves a spot in the library of any horror fan.
That's a big claim for what seems like, on the surface, a really simple idea.
It really is. And that kind of sums up the so what moment here for the indie scene,
How so?
Well, its success basically confirms this shift, maybe, in what players want. It shows you don't always need, like, a 50-hour epic RPG. Sometimes what people crave is just a really sharp, polished, high-concept idea, something that delivers maximum impact, psychologically speaking, in a short amount of time.
And the fact it was a new IP that got millions of views organically.
Yeah. It proves that a great concept, executed well, can find its audience without a massive marketing budget, which is, frankly, pretty inspiring.
That idea of efficiency of dread, that's a perfect way to put it. Let's pivot to the gameplay itself. What exactly are you doing in the Cabin Factory that's scaring everyone so much?
Okay, so at its core, the classification is a walking spot the difference horror game.
Which sounds almost quaint, like find the 7 differences between these two pictures, but obviously...
Exactly, not quaint at all here. It takes that simple concept and twists it into something genuinely terrifying.
The premise itself is clever because it forces you into this state of, constant hypervigilance. You're playing an inspector, right, on a movie set, and your job is just check out these cabin props.
Yeah, totally bureaucratic. Like, is this prop safe to use?
Yeah.
Sign here. Very mundane on paper.
But the twist is, the cabins are supposed to look scary, right? Fake blood, maybe some cobwebs.
Exactly. You're expecting the usual cheesy horror movie stuff. Plastic spiders, maybe jump scare dummy. The real game, the conflict, is figuring out what's just artificially scary.
Like set dressing.
Right. Versus what's truly supernatural, what's actually haunted, is the difference between, say, a prop skeleton just falling over because it's flimsy,
Okay.
and that same skeleton subtly turning its head when you're not looking.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how does it show you that difference? It can't just throw monsters at you constantly, or the spot the difference thing breaks down.
That's where the genius and the tension comes in.
Yeah.
And the sources really emphasize how meticulously designed it is. It's all about extremely subtle environmental changes.
Like what?
Okay, so you walk into a cabin, you scan the room, maybe you notice like a specific picture frame on the wall hanging perfectly straight. Turn away, maybe check something else, loop back around, and now that picture is tilted just like 1 degree. Or a chair that was facing the window is now facing the door.
Ah, okay. Tiny details.
Tiny, but everything. That minimal shift is what tells you if the scene is clear or if you need to hit the danger button.
So the actual mechanics demand intense focus then. You're actively hunting for these little inconsistencies, these anomalies.
Precisely. Anything that violates the logic of the room, as you just saw it.
Walk us through the interaction then. What happens when you think you've spotted something or haven't? What are the choices?
It boils down to a really simple but high-stakes binary choice. After you've done your scan, you make your call. If you suspect something genuinely supernatural, something moving that absolutely shouldn't, you have to turn back immediately and press danger.
Okay. Bail out.
Right. But if you're confident it's all just props, nothing truly amiss, you press clear.
The genius, there has to be the consequence, right? Most horror games, you mess up, you die, you reload. What's the penalty here?
And that's maybe more stressful, arguably. The game penalizes you for making the wrong choice, rather than just outright killing you, usually.
Oh.
So if you call clear on a cabin that was actually haunted, or maybe you panic and call danger on a perfectly safe one, there's a consequence. Often a jump scare, yeah, but sometimes it's more like a failure state that resets that specific loop.
Ah, forcing you to redo it, making you even more paranoid the next time.
Exactly. It punishes carelessness, but really rewards that focused observation. The pressure is constant.
Okay, but let's talk about the runtime. We mentioned it's short. The sources confirm it's about 60 minutes, right?
Yeah, roughly an hour-long experience.
Which, combined with that low price point we'll get to, seems super accessible. But, you know, in an industry where people sometimes demand dozens of hours, does that short length risk putting some people off, people who maybe missed the viral hype?
That's a really fair point. You'd think maybe. But the success of this game seems to suggest the opposite, at least for this kind of horror niche. The brevity seems to actually be a feature, not a bug. By packing all that psychological tension into a tight 60-minute loop, the dread doesn't really have time to wear off or become familiar. It's like a concentrated shot of anxiety. It respects your time and guarantees that peak tension pretty much start to finish.
It's like a perfect horror short film versus a, 10-season TV show. Sometimes shorter is punchier.
Exactly. And that intensity comes from knowing what kind of horror it's drawing on. It's got a very specific lineage.
Right. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. This style has history.
Absolutely. It fits right into this tradition of really focused, meticulous horror games.
Let's talk about that lineage then. What are the big inspirations?
Well, when you look at the design, the looping, the observation focus, you definitely see echoes of games like the Exit 8.
Ah, the subway station one.
Right. And maybe the more surreal, atmospheric dread of something like Pools. These games strip things back, focusing just on observation, environment, atmosphere.
And you really can't discuss this kind of micro-horror, observation-based stuff without mentioning the big one, the ghost in the machine, so to speak.
You mean PT?
Of course. The infamous Silent Hills playable teaser.
Yeah, PT basically wrote the modern playbook for this stuff.
Yeah.
It showed everyone that looping corridors, really subtle environmental shifts, and just oppressive tension could be way scarier than traditional monsters.
And the Cabin Factory clearly embraces that, making you question everything you see. Was that always there? Did that just move?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It forces you to distrust your own perception, your own memory. That whole lineage really defines its appeal for a certain kind of horror fan.
Okay, so we've got the gameplay, the origins, the inspirations. Let's wrap up with the final logistics for this console launch. We know the date, October 16th. We know the platforms are pretty much everything. Remind us about the price point again, especially for listeners maybe just hearing about this now. How much of a barrier to entry are we talking?
It's staying incredibly accessible, which fits that whole high-impact, low-investment philosophy. It's launching at just $2.99, or 2,099 euros, 2,069, depending on your region.
Wow, okay. $2.99. That is, yeah, that's a very low stakes impulse buy, even if you're just curious based on the buzz.
Absolutely, especially given the reviews and the word of mouth.
And are console players getting anything extra? Any new features for the wait?
There is a little something for the completionist out there. The console versions, specifically PlayStation and Xbox, will include achievements.
Ah, okay. Trophies and achievements. Gives people some extra goals.
Right. Extra motivation, maybe, to really master spotting those anomalies and find all the hidden scares.
Nice touch. But you did mention one key thing that won't be there, a caveat people need to know.
Yes, important point. This is straight from the source material. The Supporters Pack DLC, which was available on Steam.
Right.
That will not be included in the initial console release.
Okay, good to know. So manage expectations there. You're getting the core game, the viral hit experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The focus is purely on that main 60-minute experience that made it blow up.
Got it. Duly noted. So for anyone listening who's now itching to check out these possibly haunted cabins, you can get ready. It's up for purchase or pre-order now on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch.
And still on Steam, of course.
And still on Steam. All right, so quick recap. We've dug into the simple, clever premise, the anxiety-inducing spot the difference gameplay.
Connected it to its genre roots, like PT and the Exit 8.
And laid out all the key details for that October 16th console launch. Price, platforms, the works.
Pretty much covered it.
Before we sign off, though, let's just loop back quickly to that bigger picture thing you mentioned, the virality. This game blew up because of the idea, right?
Yeah.
Not a massive budget.
That really feels like the key takeaway, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. The Cabin Factory didn't need some sprawling story or complex combat. It just nailed one simple, terrifying idea and delivered it perfectly in a really concentrated burst. So it makes you wonder, given how successful short-form, high-concept stuff like this can be, especially with, current attention spans.
Right.
What does the success of the Cabin Factory really suggest about where horror gaming might be heading? Do developers maybe need to focus more on delivering maximum conceptual dread in minimal time? Or is there still plenty of room for the big traditional, maybe slower burn horror epics?
It definitely challenges the old ideas about what value means in a game, something to chew on.
Well, hopefully this deep dive gives you everything you need to know when that danger button starts calling your name on October 16th.
Definitely check it out if you're curious.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.